Yo.
I can't see you.
How goes it?
I can't see you.
You can't see me?
I cannot see you.
Weird. Okay. Hey, there I am.
You degenerate
What's up?
fuck.
What's up?
I don't know. I'm just yelling. What's going on, man?
Oh, just chilling, hanging out, doing some things, getting ready.
You've got some beautiful hair.
Hmm?
I said you've got some beautiful hair.
Yeah, I still got a mane. I'm lucky at 33. It's
I was about to say you look like Jesus, but I think Jesus died at 33, so I don't want to.
Hey, man. I'm just getting things going, so you never know.
You're not Jesus. Hold on. There he goes. Someone said that I need to have light on my face because they can't see me during the podcast.
Oh, okay, yeah, lighting is important.
Yeah, certainly. But it gives me a fucking headache because it's like right here.
Yeah,
there we go. I'm trying to get like a reflection.
Figure something out with a filter or something.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks for doing an impromptu episode, man.
Yeah, no worries.
So, what do you have to study for? You said you're studying for your job?
Like study. By study, I just mean getting more acquainted with the things I'll be working with.
Yeah.
So just the brands and parts, the machines, stuff like that. It's been a while since I've kind of paid that much attention to motorsports stuff. Like, I'm always into cars, but it's slightly, like, it's pretty much the same stuff, but it's slightly different.
But not identical.
So,
yeah.
So just making sure I'm good to go.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
You sleep good?
Yeah. What's that?
You said you sleep good?
Yeah, I did. Dude, I had a strawberry and went to sleep.
Oh, an edible? Oh, I thought you just meant I thought you just thought you meant like a strawberry. I was like,
they look like strawberry gummies. Yeah,
I thought you just meant like the fruit. I was like, that's weird. It's a weird.
It's come that far up here.
That's a true Jesus fast.
Yeah.
I had a single strawberry.
I
had a single strawberry. I'm fasting. Dude.
Yeah. Once in a while.
I went to the gym today for the first time in a week because I've been fucking sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
It's amazing how much I am just not 18 anymore. Like, go to the gym and so I went on Sunday. I'm still stuffy, so I didn't go for 5 days primarily because I just didn't want to fucking get anyone else sick.
Sure.
But I was like, okay, I'll just go. I just did 1 mile, man. I just fucking speed walked a mile like a fucking suburban mom. Like, I was like, ah!
Yeah, I know, man. It doesn't take long for it to go away.
Well, fuck, dude. At Pius and college, man, I remember. Do you ever look back on when you were younger and you just like, how the fuck did you'd get fucking wasted, go to bed at 3 a.m. and your head would pop off the pillow at 6, like, what's on the plate today?
Yeah. That was like, dude, I did that all the way up until probably 25. I was able to do that.
Really?
Like, consistently, but then as soon as, like, it's just like, I don't know. I guess it's partially the relationship I was in. You kind of settle down because now I'm feeling like I'm back to that.
Yeah.
Not that level of energy, obviously, but like that level of like, okay, I can like, I have energy to do things, but I also don't really drink anymore. So the hangover thing is like me getting fucked up as like smoking too much weed and passing out.
Yeah. Dude, starting at like 21 is when I first, like, the hangovers first really started like kicking me in the dick. Maybe even 20.
Sure.
It was the first times that like I would drink and the next day I'd be like, even if like I willpowered it, it wasn't just like, we got to work through it. It was like, you go to the gym and you're like, oh, you go vomit, and then you're like,
it's not.
Everyone like, dude, another Ranger tonight. You're like, dude, I did Friday night. I got class on Monday. It's like, it's Friday. It's like, I need about 50 hours. Like, and
your body's just like, shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah. Dude, the reason why I stopped drinking entirely was just like, I never really had like, I guess when I got super depressed, I was drinking more. But even then, I never like went down like an alcoholic road or just drink like as a crutch. Not that I'm above it. It's just when I was really depressed, I was like smoking a ton of pot. But when I stopped drinking because, dude, I get so anxious after a night of drinking, like because like alcohol's an opiate, and think of any downer. You take a lot of downers, and if it goes away, and you're jittery. But for me, for like most friends I know, I'm so stuffy, Jesus. For most friends I know, it's like if they drink like several nights in a row, like a big college weekend or something, they'll say that like after like the third night, then I'll get a little anxiety, like I won't be able to sleep well the fourth night. Yeah. For me, it's if I like, let's say I was just to fucking throw down a night. If I started drinking at like 6 and I fucking like passed out at noon or at midnight, by 4 a.m. I would be waking up. Not only would I be sober, but I would be going through horrific withdrawals. I swear to God, my body metabolizes alcohol faster than anyone I know. And not in like a cool way, like, I could throw back a lot of liquor. No, my body instantly, 4 hours of drinking, my body reacts like I've been drinking nonstop for 4 weeks. I mean, do like panic attacks. Yeah, like 30-hour, like crawl into a hole and die, like crying in the shower. Like, and finally, it was just like, wow. Yeah. Finally, I was. Oh shit. Yeah. Finally, I was just like, what is the payoff? I was like, right. I was like, maybe if I'm getting drunk with like Elon Musk or the fucking president, and it's like maybe I can rub elbows and I can get him to come on my podcast.
It becomes
like
a time and place thing. Yeah.
Right? Like for that, I would suck up and be like, I'm gonna get drunk tonight, but I'm getting drunk with fucking Donald Trump because I can have him on my podcast. Like the payoff is gonna be for years. It's gonna pay off. I'll do it. But
I don't even have to like have that level. I'm just like, friends, or like it's Christmas or whatever. Like, yeah, sure, I'll go for a drink. Like, I don't sit at home. And
I don't drink. Do you want to drink? Yeah, don't twist my arm. All right, let's go. No, for me, it's
because like I know at this point in my life, I'll stop when I need to stop. Like, I don't keep drinking because I know I've had that. I've been there so many times. Yeah. I mean, like, it's just like, this is not worth it.
There's a demon in me that it's just like I have to keep like going.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's yeah, man.
I'll just peter out and I'll be like, yep, I'm good. Like, I know because like I just did it just as recently as this past Christmas. There was some like rager with a bunch of 20-somethings, and I was like the old guy.
I remember you texted me. You're like
passing shots and stuff.
I remember you texted me. You're like, I'm going to this party, man. And then for like the next day, you're like, man, I'm so hungover. And I was like, let's do a podcast tomorrow. You're like, got it. And the next day, you're like, 2-day hangover, bro. But like, I couldn't even be mad because I was like, I get that. I get like 3-day hangover. So
that was just like the excess of like, I think over the course of the day, I'd had like 2 Baileys with coffee and 3 beers at the party.
Gross.
One shot, and that was like that was over like the whole day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't push myself. I like I will. Yeah, I let that ride, and then I'll just like smoke weed because it mellows it out.
Yeah.
Slows you down. And,
man. It's like I pretty much stopped everything. Not pretty much. I did stop everything since I've moved home. But that's primarily because it's like there's definitely a demon. There's definitely a demon inside me that abuses that shit. But its head only sticks out of the sulfuric caverns of hell. When I give it, it's like a vampire. Like it's like Duncan Trussell said. Duncan Trussell's like, he's like, addictions are like vampires, man. He's like, because a vampire only goes where it's invited. You have to invite it into your life. Then it takes hold. Yeah. But that's, for me, it's like, there's no, like, there's nothing in me right now that's like, it's Friday night, man, let's drink. You haven't drank in 4 years. Like, you're 29, man, drink. I don't have that. I'm like, fuck that. But if I were to have a beer, halfway through the first beer, it'd be like, let's get fucking wasted. It'd be like, and that demon comes out, and the horns come out, and it just... like my eyes turn black like a fucking shark when it smells blood, and it's just like
I get it. I mean,
the leather wings come out, and it's just like, tonight is the night. Like,
no, I know. Like I've spent many a night. Like Japan was a year of like nonstop that lifestyle. And then when I came back and living in Toronto doing the music stuff, it was like every night because like bars in Toronto close down at 2, but there's like after hours everywhere. So like, it was just like you just kept going. You'd be like organizing brunch, like hangover brunches the next morning at like 2, like as you were going to the like, you know what I mean? Because you knew everybody would be so messed up that everybody would have to go for like. There was this one restaurant called Sneaky D's. Everybody went there, and like because they had hangover, like it was on the menus, like it was like they were waiting for you.
They were there.
You know what I mean? Come, bring me your like scumbags.
Like
people.
Like the big homely, like big bosomed, like medieval woman, like come warrior, like come traveler. You've been tired.
Like,
you look weak.
They were, oh man, they were the best place because they had like live music upstairs, but the floor, if there was a lot of people there and it was like a good banging show, that floor would flex.
Fuck that noise. But
it's been like that since like the 80s because you talk to people like all the way back and they're like, yeah, man, does that floor still go? And you're like, yeah. So I think they either like engineered it to be a feature or whatever. But like that place is an institution in this city.
Have you ever seen those stories though? Like where the floor gives way?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and like 80 people.
I'm not stupid, but everybody knows about it. It's just like they would have shut it down. The city is so like anal about shit like that. Like they would have shut Sneaky D's down. Yeah, because it's so well known. It's like you can't miss it. It's if you ever like looked it up, it's just like covered in just like graffiti and like it's shit. So
there's a place like that in Athens for UGA called or the hangover place called Mama's Boy. Is it Mama's Boy? Yeah, it's literally like 500 yards from my apartment. But the place fucking rakes in cash. Because you go there on like a game day weekend. Dude, I swear to God, there'll be a line. There'll be like a waiting list, like 3 hours long. But you go there, dude, and it's literally like, it's like mimosas, like grits, like buttered biscuits. Everyone in there is, for the most part, cheery, but it's because they're all still drunk. Like
that's the best way to have a party. Keep them drinking, but like keep them fed so that like no one's super pissed off. Everyone's kind of lethargic.
Everyone's got like a little bit of like carb overload, just like.
Yeah, exactly.
What's after hours in Japan? You said everything closes at 2, but there's after.
No. That's in Toronto. Toronto is after hours. Everything closes. Nothing closes in Japan ever. You can always find something open in Japan. And if you can't find anything open, you just go to a convenience store or like a what do you call them? A machine, like
vending machine?
I can't think of the word. Pardon?
Vending machine.
Yeah, a vending machine. They're like everywhere. You can buy like smokes and beer.
They have beer. Have beer in those.
Yeah, in certain ones, you have to show an ID now. Yeah. Like it's changed in recent years, but like they have like electronic IDs you can get. It's not like you have to apply for them basically, and it's called a TASPO, and it's just like this thing you put in and. Because they tried to do it with facial recognition, but like the kids used to just like go up to the screen and just like scrunch their faces, and then it would be like, "All right, you passed." So they like all like typical teenagers did. Yeah. They just like hacked the system. And like, "Yep, all right, we figured this shit out." We used to like party in Japan, so like a good like a Saturday you could say.
Hold on.
Hello.
No, I just realized. I was not even paying attention, but I have like 2 pictures of it. It's you talking, and then there's a smaller you talking up in the corner. All right, are you still there? Okay.
Yeah,
I just closed it, and it's fine. I don't know what the fuck that was. But
weird.
Yeah. Right. But sorry, what were you saying? I was going to ask. Is there open container laws in Toronto?
Toronto there are, yeah.
Or where's the vending machines?
Sorry, this is Japan.
So the vending machines are Japan.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's But then, okay, I thought we were still talking about Toronto.
Okay, sorry, I guess I'm confusing you. Japan, like things never close. Things are open like 24/7 if they want to be, and you can buy beer in vending machines.
And there's no.
And
open
that's
container.
where they had the like facial recognition thing.
And there's no open container.
There's no open container. You can walk around with the beer in your hand. It's fine. Toronto, everything closes at 2. Yeah. It's more like North American style. Yeah. Everything closes at 2, and then like everybody goes to after hours. And
but like what is, because then like everywhere I've like Valdosta or Athens or Atlanta, everything closes at 2. But that's like everything. Like no one can serve alcohol after 2. And like obviously everyone still goes to like parties and stuff, but like there's definitely no institution or place you could go because they get busted. So in Toronto, well, that's what I'm asking you. So is it possible in like Toronto that you can go?
Yeah, like that's where we went. I think there's a bunch. And they've been around for a long time, and they move around. So like one will be open for like 5-6 years. They'll make their money. They'll move somewhere else, but everybody will know where they'll go. So it's like the cops in Toronto have bigger things to deal with than like some people. You know,
yeah.
They'd rather them kind of in one area than just like out on the streets or whatever. Whatever. So,
I've never understood the why close bars at a certain time. Like you already cut people off when they're too drunk. Like
it's in English. It goes back to like English.
Just some Puritan shit. Like
exactly. Probably same, just like you guys. Everybody acts like it's different, but they're like pretty much the exact same people like settled both of our countries.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just like ours came with like some French guys also came. You know what I mean? That's the only fucking difference.
But I mean, at the root, it was just a bunch of white dudes with funny hats and Bibles. Like that's the core of it.
Wanted land and just
and a general disregard for people that weren't white. They're savages.
Them in there.
Take them out. Engines.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not that different.
No, dude. I heard an interesting like sort of conspiracy for like the gold rush, the 1849, and it was like the government knew there was no gold out there, or if there was no more prevalent than anywhere else in the world. You had just as much of a shot at as finding gold there as you did in Vermont, but it was we had Manifest Destiny, where it was like it's God's will that we get.
I've heard this too,
but we go get the West Coast. Yes, but the idea is tell everyone there's gold out there. Boom,
makes a lot of sense.
Boom, get everyone to go out there, and now everyone's out there getting gold. And if any Indians attack us, well, now they're attacking us. So instead of just us going out there and bulldozing them, we go out there and then we say, "Oh, why are you attacking me?" So.
Yeah.
But how else do you get an instant population?
When the gold runs out, and they're like, and Jackson's just like, well, I'll give you money if you give me scalps.
Yeah. Seriously.
Gold Rush Part 2.
Yeah, seriously. But it was just like, how else do you get an instant population?
Exactly,
in 1849, no less.
No less.
Yeah.
If you look at like colonialism, that's how it works. They usually you there's like something economic that drives a few people, and then all of a sudden it drives just a mountain of people. Yeah, exactly.
And then it dies, but everyone's there, and everyone's like, "Fuck it, we're already here, new home." Exactly. Like it's just, man. It's what better, and especially 1849. It's not 1990 where you can put everyone out on planes and trains. They're literally still building the railroad, so it's like we gotta have something. We gotta have something to convince people to get on a fucking like skin covered wagon. It's gonna take you 3 months. Half of you are gonna be dead.
A one-way trip.
How do we get
one way or the other?
How do we get these people to populate the western half of America in 1849? How do we get it done now?
Exactly.
There's gold everywhere.
Yeah, send out a telegram. Like, who the fuck's gonna question it? like,
they wouldn't lie.
See that says president. Nobody's gonna ask a goddamn question.
The good old days when no one questioned the government. Right? It's. Think if that happened now.
But that was also the good old days when you could, because like if they got too much, there was enough people that would be like grab their guns and go actually wreak havoc.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's like. Even 100, like, former Marines would do some damage, but there's a lot of force against them. You know what I mean?
Squashed, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to say they wouldn't, do stuff, but
you definitely did.
Right.
Yeah, back then, I think there was probably a pretty like 1-to-1 balance of power.
Exactly, right? It's
like those crazy fuckers. It was just like commonplace. Talking out of my ass, but like I feel like it was just commonplace. They just like people just got shot for being dicks. Like Wild West shit, just like you cheated at poker, man.
I know it's a show,
through the head.
Have you ever seen that show Frontier?
No.
It's basically about the settling of Canada through like the beaver trade, and it stars that like Jason Momoa guy. One of the the opening scene or something, this British soldier gets off a boat and gets bumped by this kind of like dirty dude in like beaver pelt or whatever. He's like, "Watch where you going, you animal!" And the guy just like stabs him in the skull and just kills him. It's just like Canada. It's like, holy shit, man. Man. And just walks away, and now it's like no one can do it.
Everyone's probably just like, well, don't be a dick, man.
I think so. Yeah, it was like, yeah.
I wonder what it would be like if there was like a mass shooting back then. It'd probably just be like, yeah. I guess some people pissed him off.
Mass shooting be? It would have to be like 12 guys.
Yeah. Well, I guess everyone fucking had. I think everyone fucking had guns on them back then, though.
That was back then when like the massacres happened with knives and like axes.
Yeah.
That was the most effective way. I guess, to suddenly show up and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit has really changed in the past 150 years. Like,
and honestly,
massively.
Probably for the better.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm pretty content with.
No,
I'm pretty
not
content.
looking to go back.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
It's crazy when you look at all like the length of human history, and then just like the past 150 years. It's like I know the whole world isn't necessarily there, but at least the whole world is somewhat aware of each other now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh, there's absolutely it's absolutely a global community. I mean,
it's definitely like they're gonna look back at this this small part of history as like a time, like definitely a turning point for humans.
Dude, we were alive for the advent of public and widespread use of the internet. Obviously, it was developed in the late 50s and early 60s through DARPA.
Yeah,
but like the actual like average Joe can use it.
Mm-hmm.
We were alive for that. That's like the wheel. Like fire.
No, legit.
Boat. No, seriously.
The wheel, printing press.
Yeah, wheel, boat, fire, printing press. Yeah, plane. Air travel.
Broadcast and air travel,
Yeah. But I would say, the internet trumps. I would say the internet trumps. Yeah, radio, telegraph, and TV combined. It's truly a fucking. I can when I put up like my shitty art online, I can like see who views it, and like I'll look at it and it'll be like viewed 5 times. I'll be who the fuck viewed it 5 times? And it'll be like New York, L.A., Kiev, Ukraine, South Africa, and then it will be something in like Arabic, and I'll be like, what the fuck? But it's like my mom was in Belgium in December seeing her brother, and I like took a picture of Oscar, our dog, and sent it to her. And like in that moment just kind of had like maybe it was just like an LSD flashback, like but I was just like the sudden insanity of that moment that I was like I took like a high resolution image of this dog and I sent it to her at light speed. It goes around the earth 7.5 times a second and it's in her pocket. Like think of 150 years ago what that would have taken. Would have had to sit the dog still. Would have had to get someone smart enough and rich enough that had a camera. They'd have to put some silver nitrate with a fucking wick, get behind a fucking towel, boom, and then take it. Mm-hmm. And then what would I have to do with that? Well, I'd have to get that thing developed. First, I'd have to get it developed. Make
it into a postcard.
Yeah, get it into a postcard. Fucking hope that, go down to hopefully there's the Pony Express exists. Hopefully I don't die on my trip going to get it there. Hope maybe I get syphilis. Maybe I get typhoid fever. Maybe I just fucking break a leg and just done. That's it. Or a scorpion bites me. And then that thing has to get onto a fucking ship. God hope I have the money to pay for Atlantic shipping. And then it goes across the ocean. And who's to even say that they're going to deliver it on time? Like, back then it was probably like, they're never going to...
breaks out in Europe.
Yeah. Or, I don't know, just a rogue wave.
This is like ongoing skirmishes across the way back then.
And there's no way I can know. Or I was going to say, it was like, just, a rogue wave hits that fucking fragile wooden ship. Yeah. It's just like, well, there it goes. Or let's hope the captain's not drunk. And then it gets there. And who's to even say that they have an incentive to fucking get it to my mom in Belgium, who may have died before I sent it? Exactly. Or hopefully, there's not a war going on. That hopefully they're in good standing with Belgium. And and even then, like,
Ottoman Empire's not pushing in.
And even then they're just like, hopefully there's not like, I don't know, like a religious crusade or a fucking epidemic, and then possibly. That image might get to my mom, and even then, the picture might be so shitty that she won't even know what it is.
Oscar's been dead for 7 months,
and I've been dead for 3 months. Actually, the colonies are gone now. There was an uprising.
Another rogue wave.
Another rogue went inland.
Rogue wave. But fuck, man. There. That was awesome.
I mean, but
it was. Technology and just where we're at is even what we're doing right now.
Right now, what we're doing is like the act of the gods. Like we are talking face to face over thousands of miles in real time. It does not matter what the weather is. It does not matter that shit's going down in Iran. We can both wake up and just, what's going on?
The price of oil is going out the roof. It's like, I'm telling you on the internet. There's no, power outages are a thing. We got Niagara, I guess, close by. So, and we are near a nuclear plant. So our power isn't derived mostly from oil anyways. So it's like, well, I guess I can't drive. I guess I'll talk to you on the internet. You know what I mean?
Even that, it's like, it's insane. It's absolutely
guaranteed battery technology will just like accelerate off the charts the day that like there's another horrible gas shortage and nobody can fucking go anywhere. Then it's gonna be a bunch of like inconvenienced smart guys on Skype. All right, let's get this shit done.
It's going to be
like funded by Patreon, being live cast on Twitch.
Fuck that. You know what it's going to be? It's going to be fucking ExxonMobil. It's just they're going to fuck up so bad that they're going to go, I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. People don't like oil anymore. They're not going to call it ExxonMobil. They're going to come up with an umbrella company. They're going to name it, like something new agey and sexy, like Synthogen or some shit. Like,
like they always do.
But that's what it's going to be, man. It's going to be, someone's going to fuck up the oil. There's going to be a shortage that's going to fuck up so bad, and it's going to be more than just like a one-day inconvenience that finally a bunch of companies are going to start. Battery technology is just going to go through the roof. Conspiracy hat time, because I don't think it will be possible for oil companies to sort of suppress that shit anymore. And I don't mean in a conspiracy way, like
too late.
But that's what I mean. I don't mean in like a. I don't mean in like a.
I'm pretty sure most of them have given up by now. Like they're already looking to get elsewhere.
If you can't beat it, join it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And for them, if you can't beat it, buy it.
That's what they'll do. Right?
Yeah.
They'll just invest.
You'll buy it and then just suppress it. But it's
exactly. Well, they might suppress it, but I don't even know if they'll be able to suppress it anymore. Like, they'll get to a point where it'll just be so inconvenient. Like, I don't know. Like, for now, the Iran thing is, like, settled down. But, like, fast forward 5 years, where the fuck are we going to be? You know what I mean? Like,
fast forward 5 days.
Exactly,
who the fuck knows,
like,
man? Who the fuck?
Exactly.
Did you and I?
Will be by the end of the year.
Did you and I talk about? I think that was me and the Navy guy. Did you did you listen to that one? I don't know. I don't give a shit. I'm just asking so I don't.
No.
Okay.
I haven't.
Okay. No. I don't care. So, I had an idea about, you know what the technological singularity is?
Yeah. Where
technology accelerates more and more and more, and it gets to the point where, like right now, the amount of progress that happens in a year is the equivalent of, like, what used to happen in, like, 10 years in 1800.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's going faster and faster and faster, and then it's going to accelerate till 2045 when we can no longer, like, accurately see.
Yeah.
Because it goes past all understanding. It's like immortality, like light speed travel, world peace, and it's like our human minds can't comprehend past that. So it's like that's the like the area of the gods. Well, I had an idea that I hope is my own, but I don't think any ideas are really your own. But it's so culture is inseparable from technology. So it's like you know, it's like if I accelerated a spacecraft to light speed or something. We talk about all the things that are going to happen to the spacecraft, but it's like if Rob is in there, stuff's also going to happen to Rob. So it's not just going to be that the spacecraft ages slower. It's going to be like, you know, some interstellar shit. Rob also ages slow. So there's stuff connected.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think as technology accelerates, but there's things connected to it, like culture. So I think culture accelerates. And you could say, well, what do you mean by culture accelerating? I would argue, like, let's just look at the last 5 years, 2015 till now. Does it not seem like there are more, like, scandals, like celebrity deaths, like shit happening at a higher frequency now? Like, it does not seem that, like, I don't mean, like, worse. I just mean more often. Or is that just...
because there's more of them, I think, in our culture. You're absolutely correct.
So is it? Are we just communicating more, and now we're just seeing the things that are already there?
I think it's also partially that.
I think it's that, right? But but I like to think that it's also just shit's accelerating, and so everything attached to that initial accelerating mass, the technology, also means like culture. So it's like the rise of like Tinder and like Grindr. It's like. Right. Well, now there you go. Like that technology allows that. Well, that now spews out more scandals of, you know, what politician was using it or what what fiance or boyfriend got caught. But it's, you know.
But then it also because of our exposure to it, it also has like a large group of us that are like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
and then continue to like swipe back on us. You know what I mean? We just don't give a shit anymore. Yeah. Like, what are they gonna do about policies? Swipe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we don't give a shit about their bullshit.
But in the same way, like technology now that is mind blowing to just think about like our time at Pius. You were at Pius 2001 to
fucking literally. It's like it's listening to us.
Yeah, probably is. But like, think about like just like right now, like video chatting. Like, can you imagine like 2001? Like, was that possible?
No,
you had to have money. You had to have money.
Skype existed, but it was so bad. It was so bad.
Not only that, like what we're doing right now is pretty like old school Skype. Like there's FaceTime.
Yeah, totally.
There's been FaceTime for a while.
Way behind the curve. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so, but that's so what you were saying about like we would give less and less of a fuck of these scandals. I think that goes along with what I'm saying though. Is, you know, like. If you could take this laptop or this iPhone and go back to 2002, it would be batshit bananas.
Oh, yeah.
For definitely. So long. Until a year went by and everyone would be like...
adapted.
Yeah, you know, where the biggest iPod was like half a gigabyte. Now you bring one back, it's got 10 terabytes. So it would be crazy for like a year. And then it'd be like, no, this is just a 10 terabyte one, whatever.
Yeah, if anything, you would just insert something that would have accelerated more from that point in 2000.
Dude, I've thought about that. If you could go back in time, what would you do? And I always think, like, I would try to get, like, the absolute base thing. So it'd be, like, physics. Literally just, like, not trying to bring in an invention, but literally just something like a physics book. And I would bring that back to, like, you don't want to go too far back because it wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I'd go to, like, Galileo or something. Or like Da Vinci, and bring like modern physics, maybe like Newton. Because if you brought that back like an iPod, like that wouldn't really matter, because they would have no idea how to create it.
If you brought back the theory of relativity to like medieval times, Yeah, I think they would understand it. They understood that.
That's what I mean.
That how the Earth moved.
Yeah, I would get back to like a basic understanding of physics, like all this sort of like not like the big like you still think the world is flat, like you can't help that. Go back to like a point where it's like they understand like motion, like a moving object, conservation of energy and mass and heat. Mm-hmm. I would go back to them, and I would give them data on all the sort of nitpicky shit that we've just had to figure out over the centuries. Just, like nature of the atom, structure of the atom, like electron, valence shells, like all the elements. I'd bring back a period. Actually, I think that would, if you could bring back one thing, I think I'd bring back a periodic table of elements. Yeah. I think if you could bring back one sheet. And then
explain to them that they still aren't all found. You know what I mean? It's like, there's more.
Not even that. I think I would bring back like one sheet, and on the back side, I think I'd write like the smallest font I could, like every like equation that's taken a while to figure out. Yeah. And
or every equation that they might not know because, again, technology and getting information from one place to another. Right?
You wouldn't want to bring back like schematics for like a TV because it wouldn't matter. They wouldn't have the refined machinery. They wouldn't be able to make a screen, and if they could, what the fuck are they going to power it with? Yeah,
like one of those Flintstones TVs.
I think I would, but I don't know, because Da Vinci had a flying machine that he drew. So Da Vinci understood flight.
Figured out, and that's like all. When you break down physics, that's all it is. It's just we always do physics in our head. Yeah. When we can figure out how to like that's one thing that I find interesting is for like people who are bad at math but good at like visualizing and creating, theoretically are good at math, just not at writing it down and understanding it in a like alphanumeric way, if you will, like in a, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
Hold on. So like,
keep talking, Rob. I gotta piss. Keep talking.
Well, no, it's just very interesting how the mind sometimes understands something really intently, but can look at it in another way and not understand it at all. And I guess it can be related to anything in humans' thought, the way we think about things. Yeah. Every time to finish up there.
Have you ever thought about like if you could go back to like pre 9/11, how would you even warn them in a meaningful way? If you couldn't bring any pictures, you would seem like one of those guys like with the signs like the end is nigh. If you were just like those two towers are going to get hit by planes.
Yeah, there's no way.
Everyone would be like, I don't have any money. Go away. Like yeah.
It's the same as it's the same as what happens when Jesus comes back? What if he already did? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we wouldn't know.
No, dude, I had a fucking, when I wanted to do comedy back in like 2016, I wanted to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And I wrote out like I had like a 5-minute set, and I went to the place in Athens, and they were like, I think they like accidentally swapped me out for someone else. It was like an open mic night.
Okay.
And I was such a lazy, fucking depressed piece of shit that instead of, any sort of like, willpower or like, fuck it, we're going to work harder, I was just like, that's it. That's the universe telling me I can't do this. Fuck it, I quit. And so, yeah. That was, like I said, that's a dark time in my life. But,
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. But one of the ideas I had was like, that was like when Trump was running for president. And I remember thinking like, so Jesus' first time around, it's like everyone's used to this Old Testament God. And then this guy comes along that looks like you and is fucking telling everyone like, hey, don't kill each other. In a time where it's like, you know, like we were talking about earlier, just brutality. Just fucking animalistic, like the sword rules. Yeah. Like we paint with blood.
Yeah. Occupied Galilee.
Yeah, exactly.
The year zero. Yeah. It's like wonderful.
A dude comes back and he's like, he's not this Old Testament God that's like we will smite our enemies. He comes down on a throne of emerald. He's like, yo, like, stop, everyone stop. Let's be cool. Kumbaya. Hit the peace pipe. We are all one. Everything is now. The kingdom of God is here. So we nailed him to a fucking tree and killed him. We're like, fuck you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so now everyone for 2,000 years is we're all looking for that guy to come back. But I had a joke that was like, what if God's like sense of humor is like the first time you're looking for like a king and I gave you a hippie. So now everyone's looking for a hippie. They're like, fuck it, I'm going to give him Donald Trump. Fake tan, three wives, unfaithful, worth billions. And it's just like, let's see if they'll catch it. Everyone's looking for a Bernie Sanders type guy. And that's not to say, full disclosure, that's, yes, I like Trump. That's not to fucking say I think he's God. I just thought, like, what if that was God's sense of humor? Like, who would they least expect? This unfaithful, gaudy, materialistic, narcissistic, egomaniacal. Who would expect it? Like, we're all looking for Bernie Sanders, and yeah, but,
I mean, persecution was a little different, though, I guess.
But yeah, I was thinking, like, is there any way you couldn't send ripples throughout history if you time traveled?
No.
Like, I really do think even if you stepped on like a leaf,
okay,
that will multiply over billions of years.
Let's even before we even get there,
even before we broach this,
you have to the shit
what
that you
rules
would
are we
have
talking?
to get, because it's not just like going back in time. You're going back in place. You're going back in everything is different.
If
you might fucking show up and die within an hour because
you might show up in deep space.
Well,
think about
land in the wrong place. That's possible.
No, think about this. Well, the Earth
is spinning, right?
The world is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour. It's going around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. Yeah. And the entire sun's going around the galaxy at a rotation for 250 million years. The entire galaxy is moving at something like 147,000 kilometers a second.
Quite the shot to hit.
Yeah, so if you were to go back in time, it would literally be like going on a roller coaster and trying to like throw something to someone behind you. You'd have to. Yeah. If you just went, if I went back in time, 1 hour
on a roller coaster trying to hit another small target on another roller coaster
on the moon,
that was also going
on the moon, like.
Right.
Well, think about it, dude. If we're going 66,000 miles an hour, so let's just call it 60,000 miles an hour. That means we're going 1,000 miles a minute around the sun.
Right.
1,000 miles a minute divided by what? So that's at least 10 miles a second. That's called 15 miles a second. So even if I time traveled 1 second backwards, I would be 15 miles that way.
Yeah. The thing
that's
that
the
I
ocean.
always found funny in shows and animation or whatever is when the guys people become ethereal and they float through they fall through the floor. Yeah. The realistic would be the millisecond they were not affected by gravity or mass.
Yeah.
They would just it would just gone. Just gone, right?
Yeah, because you wouldn't be connected to the Earth.
Yeah.
You would just they would just be sitting there as they just watch the Earth go away.
And it's crazy that the amount of shit that is actually moving around us. And
everything.
And that we're moving. Yeah,
what is stationary? It's everything is just in relation to everything else.
It's all relation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's just negate all that and say like you can just time travel to whatever.
God, we made it. We hit.
We did it. We did it. Whatever. You did make the hole in one. You got it. Whatever.
Yeah.
See, part of me thinks, did you watch Endgame? Avengers Endgame?
Yeah.
I'm a bitch. I love all those Marvel movies. I fucking love them. I'm such a loser. I eat them up. I love them. But like, Avengers explained it perfectly for time travel. And they're like, well, if we go back in time, we're going to change it. And Professor Hulk is like, no, it can't. You're not going backwards. The past was in the past. When we time travel, that's what we're doing next. So on this timeline, us going back it's still happening forward. Because if you just look at like a timeline, it's like here's the past, here's the present. Now we're gonna time travel backwards. Well, in terms of like the events that we're doing, that's the next thing that we're doing. So that's in their universe. That's what it is. So I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it is a movie, so I'm going to hold on to that.
Well, as I prefaced it with Professor Hulk.
Because there's also, like, dimensional theory, right? That, like, if you did that, it would just create a parallel timeline. That you could go back, theoretically, to where you're from, and everything would be the same because you didn't go back to your time. You just went back to that time, and then a new time started.
Well, that would mean that new infinite... It's like Duncan Trussell's idea. I remember watching him on Joe like back in like 2013, and they were just sitting there. But there was just like Christmas lights everywhere, and they were wearing spacesuits. And I remember that was the first time I saw Duncan Trussell. Like I'd listened to his voice before, and then I saw him, and I was like, "That's the guy." Like I was like, "Fuck!" I'm like taking this guy. It's like, no, he's just really smart now. But he had an idea. He was like, "What if every possible reality in every possible outcome at every possible coordinate, just like there is no time. There's just infinite there's infinite basically like squares of existence that you can go to." Yeah. And so like right now no time is actually passing. Just every second I'm just so happy I'm jumping in the next square of me at this moment, but what would it be like 1 second from now? Or, 10 years. Like, so my dad is really, he's just choosing, or not choosing, but he's in the square where he's older. But he's like, so there is really no past, present, or future, and there's no outcome so much as you're just navigating to that like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. That's space, like that you're talking about space-time theory, or like fourth dimension, essentially.
Yeah.
So and then you get into like gravity and like it makes sense. It's not just like some high guys talking.
Yeah, not
like there are theories that pan out that way.
Just every possible,
because it is a possibility.
Every possibility exists, and we're just navigating between them all. Like yeah. It's like all the channels, all the TV channels, they're all going right now. Like, which one am I going to turn on and tune into?
Right. Like if you don't make that connection, it's like a tree falls in the forest. It doesn't make a sound if anybody's there to hear, to catch the sound waves, essentially, is what the question is asking.
Yeah.
So,
it made me think like, fuck, what was I going to say? Yeah, I remember I took like an edible, probably like this time last year, and I just got fucking cooked. But one thing I'm thinking about was like, what if there actually is like a science behind positivity and like visualization and like being optimistic, and not just like the whole, you got to be positive, man, you got to look at the bright side, like, no, because that wears you down. When people say, "Oh man, sometimes life's dark," But like I was thinking, like, what if every possible? Let's just say for every like day, there's actually like 7 possible days, and it's just like from bad to like great, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all unique to you. Bad is you fucking don't get this job, something happens to a family member, whatever. Great is like you find your wife tomorrow, like. And I was thinking, so what I was thinking is like, what if it? So like, just pretend it's like a revolver, like a gun. So there's like just think of like chambers. So there's like 7 possible chambers. Like you could say day, year, each moment, whatever. In front of you, there's always 7 possible ones. I was thinking, what if your intention, where you like put your heart, even if you like weren't feeling good, but you were still thinking like, think positive, stay optimistic. How can this work out well? What if by doing that, let's say each one of these was like a metal, and they each had their own respective magnet that they were drawn to, and whatever you think of, you become that magnet, and it pulls that reality into the chamber, and that's the one you get. So if you think bad shit's gonna happen, bad shit always happens to me, that's when the next day, you fucking didn't get the job. So bad shit always happens to me, and the next day you again, the revolver spinning, and you're acting like a magnet to the next bad thing. So the next bad thing comes into the chamber. Car broke down.
You can definitely tell the difference about like between people who bitch and complain about everything that they have in their lives and those who don't, or who are grateful for those things, right? Like, and how they live their lives and how their success usually pans out. Like one group is usually like quick and like a boom bust almost, whereas another slower, like it's like wisdom versus intelligence, like, you know what I mean? Like the wise man's not going to tell you how smart he is, but the guy who gets A's in college, who is like, smart, is going to be like, I'm so smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
me, the douchebag me. Like,
well, whatever. But like, I was, it's
no, I get it.
These things in life, and we see them happen, and how, like, I don't know. I'm older, so I've seen them like seen so many assholes like that, just like rise and fall, rise and fall, and just like. And then next time you see them, it's just like that sheepish look they give you, because they know, like, they know you know.
Yeah.
And you're still just chugging along,
like
slow and
steady,
no ego, just like whatever, man.
Yeah.
And that's how you gotta kind of take life, because life is chaos. Like, life is random. You can try to iron out the chaos as much as you want, but then your country's on fire all of a sudden, right? Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't fucking work that way. There's I think you have to believe guarantee that something's going to get better, or that it's like faith. And it doesn't matter what your faith is, or it's all the same shit. Like, you can be like a hardcore Christian or Buddhist, or use whatever you need, that conduit, or you can just be like a happy person who's just like, tomorrow's going to be good. It's the same shit. Like, it's the same endorphins hitting your brain and telling you that, like, there's a reason for me doing this. Right? Because life has no meaning, but it has inherent meaning, right? Like, it has the meaning that you give to it. And So I like to think about it like chemistry of the universe, right? The universe is literally composed of everything, but nothing is created unless those things come together to create it, right? And it's like, we don't have control over all the shit in the universe, but we have control over this shit in our universe, right? So we are made of whatever the shit the fuck that is, right? So we should do the same things that the universe is doing to create things. Yeah. Doesn't that make sense in a way?
It's like life is... It's like if life had... One thing I remember reading on like Reddit was a comment. It was like, life has no meaning. And because it has no meaning, there's therefore no reason why you can't give it meaning. Right. Like, by saying there's no rules, that means there's no rules against making rules. So, like,
no, you can. I mean,
saying life has no meaning, you can say like, okay, and therefore I'm going to say that it's not any less meaningful or more meaningful to decide that it does have meaning. It doesn't matter. If it's all fucking whatever, if it's all a neutral field of just infinite potential, then you can decide that it has meaning. Like, you can... because there's no... Clearly, you said there's no power behind it, so no one can tell me that it doesn't have meaning. Right. So I've like been wondering, like, so like we can talk about this, and it's so like we agree that it's good to like be positive, to look, you know, put your best foot forward even when shit's bad, because eventually that mindset is like, good things might not happen, but when good things do happen, it's only because you had that attitude. That doesn't mean every time you have that attitude, good things are going to happen, but it does mean every time good things happen, it's because, you know, you put that forward.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
So we're saying that, and it sounds good, and it feels good, and you know, and your early bird gets the worm, and whatever, all those cliches and shit. I want to know if there's like a science behind it. Like, what if there is, if you focus on an outcome, what if there is something that, and I don't mean like spiritual woo-woo shit, what if it's just a dimension or a physics that we haven't discovered? Like, we still have two things that make up 93% of the universe. What do we call them? Dark matter, dark energy, because we don't know what the fuck they are. Like, so.
Well, and the theory of quantum entanglement is like becoming quickly provable. You know, like they know that things become quantumly entangled, like
instantaneous connection, yeah,
and be like forever apart, but still be connected.
Move at the same time.
And still, yeah, exactly. So it's there's crazy discoveries happening, and again, like I said, we're just in this fledgling acceleration of our understanding of the things around us. So,
do you ever?
Who the hell knows?
Yeah. By the way, don't feel free to. I have nothing to do today, so I'm just talking.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like take off in 5.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I don't want to keep you. I was kind of thinking like it's like the farther down it's like for both ends of the spectrum. The more you zoom out, the more the universe just becomes this homogeneous mass of everything. And like the more you zoom in, it becomes this like quantum field of just nothing but like pure contradiction and science fiction.
If you zoom down to the molecules of your body, there's just nothing but space between them.
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes
it's like it's nothing but space except for the protons. But then you zoom into those, it's nothing but space.
There's nothing but space.
So it's like does anything even fucking?
It just depends what size you're at, right?
Really, it does. Like I feel like I don't think there's an infinite bottom or an infinite. Well, no, sorry, I do think there's an infinite bottom and an infinite big top.
Yeah,
because you can't.
As far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
It's and can comprehend.
Yeah.
Most people can't, like a lot of people can't even comprehend the actual size of like a solar system, let alone all of this other shit. Yeah. So
like, yeah. It's almost like a video game map. It's so big that as to sort of say like it almost implies that it's like the point of the game isn't to find the end of the map. It's to play here because it doesn't matter. Exactly. You can spend your entire you can spend 1,000 hours walking that way. You're not going to get to the end of the map. So
choose a direction, find a planet, you're there. Like
it doesn't. Yeah. So it's like might as well do the missions and the side missions here because there's nothing there that's worth getting there. So it's almost like the gods or like the devs of Earth are just like, no, it's not, there's a reason why that the nearest star is like 6 trillion miles away. And it's like it's because the point is like the missions are here, you know, like you're not gonna find it on. Sorry. So last thought, and I'll let you go.
Yeah, go for it.
Speaking of like 1849 gold rush and like lying to get people out there, what should we have an eye out for in terms of like Mars colonization? What's the next? What are they going to say is on Mars that they need us there for?
It would have to be like a big thing.
Like a fuel.
And shit would have to get really bad here, I think. So
I don't know. Shit wasn't necessarily terrible so much as they were dangling gold. It wasn't a negative. It was what they were saying. There's a positive. So what are they going to say?
That's a huge fucking task. Like there's nothing there.
Exactly.
Nothing.
And there was nothing out west. Yet they got people to go. So what? How are they going to get us together?
Human beings. There's nothing.
Exactly. So it's just going to have to be an even bigger lie. What is it going to be?
A bigger pot.
A bigger pie in the sky.
Pot. Yeah.
What is it going to be?
I have no idea. It might be, who the fuck knows? Thousands of people whose like families are set for generations here on Earth.
Back here on Earth, yeah. You can go and you're broke. You can go and fix everything up for your kids,
and then we'll take care of your family for the next whatever
2 generations. Your wife, your kids, and their kids.
Yeah.
But that's like a real thing. The gold was a bamboozle. There was nothing out there. You got out there, sucks to suck. I guess that's like a real. That's not really a lie though. That's like a real
first
thing.
They gotta fucking get there, right?
You gotta get there
it's
first.
One thing to shoot a fucking Wally over there, but it's like another thing to send 1,000 people on a ship.
And again, they gotta survive. It doesn't matter if the ship crashes, and now you gotta support
each other.
Yeah.
Right.
And how would you on Mars? How would you enforce the payment back home? What if they just said, fuck it, we're not paying them?
Exactly. What if they did what every corporation does all of the time?
Every time, right? Ever. Just
every
lie.
Time ever. Well, have you seen the show The Expanse? That's like basically kind of how that, like the basis of that show, where it's like 2 generations removed from Earth leaving, Earthlings leaving Earth and settling Mars and the Belt. But like Belt people, because of the gravity, are like longer. Like they have longer bones and they can't survive on Earth or Mars, so they're just like the space pirates and the like blue collar poor people. And then the Martians are just like pissed off with Earth and don't trust them and think they're just wasteful like assholes and are just super militaristic and everyone's just like, for Mars. It's just like, and then the Earth is just like this place of like where everybody is just on welfare constantly. Because nobody needs to work because there's so many resources coming from the belt that everybody's just having fun and shit.
It's just everyone. It's just like a big.
It's like good. It's like peaceful.
It's like a good big like, playpen.
Yeah, like the OPA, which are like the belt people, are the only like big time terrorists.
Yeah,
and they'll do things like try to fire asteroids at Earth. Like launch them with small ships. Yeah. It's like the equivalent of like someone attacking a country by towing a tugboat. Like pushing a battlecruiser into the harbor with a tugboat. Like that's how they're attacking.
What show is
it? Blowing it up.
What show is it?
The Expanse.
The Expanse.
It's super dope. It's like
I might have to. I don't like watching shows, but the way you just presented that sounds.
It's super good. Yeah.
All right, I might have to.
Yeah.
Dude, I hope that's the future, man. I hope the future is just.
Future's gonna be.
I hope it's just like solar powered robots doing everything for us.
As video gamey as we think it'll be.
I think it'll
because if we can already imagine that shit now.
Yeah, I think there's no gray area. I think it's either going to be a utopia of abundance and euphoria and pleasure that we can't even comprehend, or it's going to be a pit of despair that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah, I think we're headed to the pit for a bit, for a while. Anyways.
Hey, we just talked about the importance of being positive, so let's
I know. Hey, there's shit on the other side of the pit.
Yeah, that's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, big man.
All right, on that, call it a day.
Yeah,
Take it easy.
I'll let you go. You too, buddy. Text me tomorrow. Let me know how your job goes.
We'll do it.
All right, peace.
All right, talk soon.
Peace.